Hey guys, this is Stats Day 3. So today we are going to be actually doing some statistics, doing some math with these numbers. So some of this is review for you guys. The first thing we're going to find is I'm going to give you this data set right here, these numbers. There are 15 of them total. So we're going to find some information from these. So the first thing we're going to find is the mean. And remember, the mean is just the average. So to find the mean, all I have to do is add all of these up, and then I have to divide by how many there are. So I add all of these up, and I get 174. So my mean equals 174, and then I just divide it by how many there are, and there are 15 terms there. So I just divide those and I get 11.6. So there's my mean right there. The next thing we're going to find is the mode. And remember, mode just means what is the most frequent number. So I'm looking through, and these are already in order. Remember, whenever you have a data set, you want to put them in increasing order just so you can see it a little clearer. So here I have 2 6s, and I don't have anything else that repeats. So my mode is going to be 6 because there are the most of them. If there are 2 that have 2, so let's say I had 3 4 4 6 6, you would list both. So you would say the mode was 6 and 4. But here I just have 6 is the biggest. There are 2 of them. Okay, so that's our mode. Now we're going to find our range. And remember, range is just the largest number minus the smallest number. So my biggest number is 25, and I'm going to subtract 3 from it. So I get 22 as my range. Okay, and then we're going to find our 5 number summary here, which is our 5 numbers are our minimum, our maximum, our median, which is somewhere in the middle here, our first quartile, which is I take my median and I split this part in half. It's the first quarter basically. And then I take my third quarter, which is from the back half here. I split that in half. Okay, so the easiest things to find here are the minimum and the maximum. So minimum, we already actually found both of those right here. So the minimum is 3, so that's the lowest number. The maximum is 25. Okay, now I need to find my median, which is just the middle number. So this is when I just start crossing stuff out. So we need to find the middle. So I'm going to cancel on the outsides and work my way in. So I'm going to take, we'll take 3 from this side, 3 from this side. I get rid of those. Okay, and then I'm going to take 3 more, 3 more. I'm going to do 1 on each side, and here's 12. So there's my median. So I'm just crossing off from each side until I get to the middle. So my median is 12. Okay, now I need to find quartile 1, which quartile 1 is just the same thing that I had here, but it's just on this half. Okay, so this 12 does not belong to the left side or the right side. It is right in the middle. So I don't pay attention to the 12. I just go from this side here. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. So I'm cancel, 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 and then I get 6. So 6 is quartile 1. Okay, and then I also need quartile 3. And I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it on the right-hand side. And I get 16. Okay, and then there's one other thing that I want to find, and it's called the interquartile range, or IQR. So inter means in between. Quartile means the quartiles, quartile 1 and quartile 3, and then range we said was just when I subtract them. So I'm taking quartile 3 and I'm subtracting quartile 1. So I'm just doing 16 minus 6, and that gives me 10. Okay, so now from these numbers, what we can make is a box plot. So I want to put my numbers on the bottom here. So I'm going from 3 up until 25. Go from 3 to 25. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 15, 20, 25. Okay, so I have my minimum to my maximum listed on here. And now we're just gonna put this information on here. So we're using our 5-number summary, which is these 3 and these 2. Okay, so minimum is at 3, and I'm gonna put a dot there. Maximum is 25, and I'm gonna put a dot there. My median is 12, so that'd be right here. I'm gonna put a line. My quartile 1 is at 6, so 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put a line. And then my quartile 3 is 16, and I'm going to put a line there. Okay, so I've got my box in the middle, and I've got my lines over here. So this is called a box plot, or you might have heard it called box and whisker plot, but it's the same thing. So dots at the minimum and maximum, lines at the median, quartile 1, quartile 3, and then you just make your box in the middle there. Okay, so each part of the box is 25% of the data, right? Because it's a quarter of it. So this is 25%, this is 25%, this is 25%, this is 25%. So for the whole thing, that's 100%. Okay, so from a box plot, if I give you a box plot, you can also find that 5-number summary by just looking at it. So this is always your minimum, this is always your maximum, this first line is always quartile 1, the middle is always the median, and then the last one is always quartile 3. So whenever you see a box plot, that is what those are. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is types of distribution. Okay, so there are 3 main types of distribution that we're going to talk about, and that is normal distribution, that is skewed left, and then skewed right. Okay, so normal, and we're going to talk about that more in the next day's video as well. We're going to focus on normal curves specifically. But for normal curves, they're also called bell curves, and they're perfectly symmetrical on both sides. Okay, so they're perfectly symmetrical there. Skewed left and skewed right, they're kind of opposite of what you would think. When you're saying skewed left, you're saying that that's where the tail is. So when it's skewed left, that means that most of the data is on the right. Okay, so this is not symmetrical, right? There's a little tail over here. So that's going to be skewed left because that's the edge, that's the tail. And then skewed right is going to be the opposite. So it's going to be most of the data on the left, and then it kind of goes out to the right. Okay. So for each of those, they talk about or they have their measures of center, their mean, median, and mode are going to be in different spots. So when we have a normal curve, all of those are the same because the mean, the median, and the mode, remember the most is the mode. So the highest point is always going to be your mode. So here's my highest point, so that's where the mode is. The mean is always the average, it's kind of in the middle there, and then the median is between those two. So this is in the middle is mean, median, and mode. Okay, for our skewed left, there's your mode. Okay, and then your median is going to be in the middle, and then your mean is finding the average. So your mean is going to be here. Mean is going to be to the left, and then the median is right there. Because in the middle of those two. So median here, mode here, mean here. Okay, and then again, the right is the opposite. So the mode, always that highest point, and then everything else is to the right, and the median is always in the middle. Median and then mean. Okay. So normal, they're all in the same spot, and normal curves are really special. We're going to talk about those some more in the next video. But then skewed left just means the tail is on the left. Skewed right means that the tail is on the right. And then the mode is always just the highest point. The median is in the middle, and it's to the direction that they tell you. Okay, so go ahead and try your homework for Stats Day 3.